My name is Kevin Macdonald. I'm with a small firm, thank you, small firm named Loxcel. We help breweries sell more beer. I know, and a friend of mine said that beer makes him happy, so I guess we're in the happiness business. Yeah. We also work with other types of technology and data, particularly data related to cell towers. Okay, we work with wireless firms, cellular companies, lease acquisition firms, and for us, data is very important. We help breweries sell more beer by analyzing their sales data, their inventory data, their shipment data. So data is very important to us, and the propriety of it is critical. So I'm here to talk a little bit about how to protect your data and make sure that it doesn't get in the hands of the wrong people. So this is our relationship with our clients. We have many clients, but the key point is that we have data, they need data, they buy data from us. Very simple. And now our story begins with this attempt of one small business to kind of share our intellectual property, our data. Again, most businesses, they pay for data, but some businesses feel that they want it for free. So about a year and a bit ago, we got this email, the map at loxcel.com/celltower is too small. I need a full screen map for my job. So if you log on or connect to the cell tower map, it's quite small. It's a free to use map. And for $150 a month, subscribers can access the full screen map. So this person felt that, you know, he really wanted the bigger map, but he didn't want to pay for it. So we told him that we offer a full screen map for a fee. And he said, I'll consider your offer. Again, this is a business person, not someone at home. And then he says, well, I copied your website to my server and I changed it to make the map bigger. He looked at the source code, he saw my contact information, he saw the copyright. You can put all the disclaimers you want, people will ignore them, businesses, individuals. And of course he said other people will appreciate the bigger map too, as if after he cracks our product, this is what pays for our food and pays for the bills, then he's going to share it with other people. Yeah, right on. So, you know, I just sent an email back going, is your unauthorized hack working? And he said, yeah, it works. It's great. But I wasn't able to copy the cell tower database from the server to have it run standalone. And I swear if he did, I'd go with there with a baseball bat and start swinging. But this points to an important point that we have a product, we're a business, like we have Rogers as clients, we have international clients, we help breweries in Sweden sell product at the beer store. We're a small, but we're a legitimate business. But this individual, and he's not alone, he wanted to hack into the system and he got it running, and then we went in and we did some things that shut him down pretty soon. And we all like to share. Like tonight, you know, we're sharing stories, we're share lots of stuff. This little boy got this ice cream and he's sharing it with a girl. Who's against that? But what if that boy, he stole that ice cream? Does he now have a right to share it with that girl? I mean, it's, you know, but that happens an awful lot. So what kind of protections do we have out there to protect data, to protect code? Well, we all know about the Copyright Act in Canada, and it varies from country to country, but Canada and the United States is very similar. It protects software. Now, I said we're in the data business. Okay? And for us, data has no legal protection in Canada or United States. In Europe, and particularly the UK, there's the sweat of the brow doctrine, which means if you put a lot of effort into compiling a database of information, that can be protected by copyright. Over here, that provision does not apply. So even though with our cell tower database, we spent a lot of time building that, we worked with partners in the States to clean it all up. There's about 16,000 towers in our database. It was a lot of work, but we have no legal protection. If that gets in the hands of someone else, we can do nothing. We're out of business. Now, Canada Post doesn't know about the copyright laws in Canada because they're going after this company called geocoder.ca. They have built a database that takes a postal code and converts it into a latitude longitude. Now, they didn't use Canada Post's own database, but they're kind of giving Canada Post a bit of trouble because Canada Post sells their own database and this company is giving it away for free. So Canada Post is going after them. I read the statement of claim. I read the statement of defense. The statement of defense said that this is absolutely absurd. and they have people going to bat for them. I'm going to be watching this case closely. If the courts do decide to make a change, then that will benefit us. Can't speculate what's going to happen, but right now I think Canada Post has a small chance of making their claim. Really, all we have to support our business and to protect our data is to treat it as a trade secret. I'm sure some of you are familiar with the different types of intellectual property. There's patents, there's copyright that you can use to protect things. Trade secret is another one, but the state doesn't enforce it, that it's really up to us to make sure that the information remains confidential. The minute that it's out the door, the horse is out of the barn, and we have no further recourse. So how do people get into your data to extract things? Well, the front-end web application is a recipe to steal data from your back end, and that's what this individual did. A web application is usually written in JavaScript. They grab the source. It might be compressed, but it's very easy to critify it, walk through it, identify the access points. Within a couple of hours, you can start scraping data from the server, bit by bit, record by record, and before long you'll have the complete database at your hand. So I'm sure you're probably all familiar with these tools, JSMin, YUI compressor, uglify, minifier. They all have something in common. They minify, they compress. But the Google Closure compiler, this is sort of a list of what these tools do, that this does this does this plus this, and so on and so forth, just like a pyramid. When you get to the bottom, Google Closure compiler takes that web application, that recipe, and it sort of does a little more work at trying to close that, preventing people from reverse engineering your code, because what it does is it erases semantics. These tools here, they will compress, they will rename variables, they'll remove white space, but it's very easy to uncompile anything generated by these tools and gain a good understanding of exactly what's going on, not only how to access the data on the back end, but also if the data is coming back in some quasi-encrypted form, you can read the code and figure out how to decipher that data. Google Closure compiler, it doesn't solve it completely. There's no perfect solution for security here, but it's going to do a better job than these other tools at not only compressing, but also erasing the semantics from your application. Well, as well, from a minimizer point of view, it does a very good job. It does better than any other tool out there, because it's doing more than just taking your tokens, your code, and merely compressing it. It's actually compiling it. That's where the word closure compiler comes from. It's actually compiling it, but a browser can't execute machine code, so it spits JavaScript out the back end. You'll see that when compressing prototype.js, it compresses it a little better than any of the other tools. So you get two benefits. Now, it's not a free lunch. There's a lot of gotchas that come with the Closure compiler. Now, when we're talking about the Closure compiler, we're talking about using the advanced optimization as opposed to the basic optimization. Our front-end application is about 9,000 lines of JavaScript, and it generated about 500 errors when we first ran it. So what you need to do is you need to sort of think in a static mindset. You need to annotate your code. You need to explicitly state what the types are of the parameters and of these variables. It might make a few mistakes along the way. You may need to create header files, so we're going not just from the Java world, we're also going to the C world, so we are regressing in some ways. So Closure compiler, initially, it's going to be a real nuisance, but do persist, because after the code compiles, it's very, very easy to maintain that code base. It's very easy to add more features without going through this burden again, okay? So very beneficial, but a lot of gotchas. Now, I said I'm going to talk about some other tips and techniques we use to protect our data. And when you load your database with your proprietary data, or when you load your data into a database, the database will usually assign sequential IDs to each record. Now, that makes it really easy for somebody to come and scrape your data. And all they need is the access point, and then they say, give me record 1, give me record 2, give me record 3, 4, 5, and so on. So what we do with our 16 or so thousand records is we assign random IDs, and these are actual IDs of 10 of the 16,000 cell tower records. Now, every time we regenerate the database every week or so, we generate a whole new set of IDs. So you could start at 1 and go 2 and 3 and 4, and about 8 years from now you might hit that. It's not a perfect solution, but it's another way to protect your data from people who wish to scrape it. Another tip, we not only provide data but in the form of a web application, but we also provide it as a Google Earth export subset of the data. Now we have all these scary things. If you do not agree, dismissing this window constitutes your acceptance of these. People ignore all that stuff. That's not going to win you anything whatsoever, except the lawyer will go, great, you have that in place. What we do instead, though, is we have a tracking device in this, and we monitor what you're doing. That lets the owner, because we also put that up there too, so if he decides to take this KML file and share it with other people, not only are we tracking it, but other people are going to know where this file originated from. This, in this case, may be copyright violation, and we can go after them in this case. So our clients who have our data in this format, they've been very good. A second benefit, though, of this, because we track, if we notice that they're using data that's a few months old, we can call them up. So that's a sales opportunity. So another benefit from tracking codes. So we've spoken about external threats to your data. There's also internal threats to your data too. And a few weeks ago we were doing some administration work, and we were updating the account table, and we were setting the password for a single account. I don't know how that got there, but it did. And we ended up updating every client in our database, setting their password so nobody could log into the system. This is a 24/7 system. That wasn't very good. So we do have backups. I'm sure you probably all who run online systems have backups too. But you have a restore process that once you recognize you've lost data, you've got your backup in hand. But if you make as many mistakes as we do, like we did here, do you trust yourself to restore from your backup? So we have a completely automated restore system. Sorry? Oh, I thought somebody said something. Oh, sorry, no problem. So we have a completely automated restore process. Within 10 minutes, we were back online. Nobody sent us an email, yelling and screaming at us, because they do pay to access this service. Worked really well. So not only having a backup policy, but you have to have a restore policy, and it has to be bulletproof, and it has to be completely automated. And to finish, IP theft is a big problem, the scale of international theft. So this is for America, the big kahuna. They got lots of rules and regulations, hundreds of billions of dollars a year, right? That's for them. So what this says is that people do not respect propriety of your intellectual property, no matter what the laws are. They will steal from you, whether it's an individual or a business. It doesn't just happen in Asia, where it's rampant, but it also happens here. Everybody wants a free lunch, including myself. That's why I'm here for pizza tonight. So you can read more about that there. That's the American point of view. And any questions and answers? Or I'll give the answers, you give the questions. Thank you.
Sale based on something that became visible through the tracking device that you saw someone was using, and then you contacted them directly?
So we do have a free service, and we track every person who comes online, and if they're business related, we contact them, and then we keep pushing, and they say, why should I pay for this? Why should I pay for this? And eventually some of them do break down and sign up and purchase a subscription, yes. Yes?
Sir, along these lines, have you considered, or do you run any kinds of consistent analysis on the kind of traffic that's coming into the access to your system to try and identify when scrapers are going through the system and block them out?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what we do have is we have a throttling system so that we don't have to monitor everything. So when a person's coming and hitting the system, we get a lot of experience scraping data as well too. So, hey, it's legal, isn't it? So when the system recognizes that from a single IP address that it's being hit frequently, what it's going to do is it's going to hold the thread for half a second and then respond. And then if you come in within a few seconds, it's going to hold the thread for 2 seconds and respond, and eventually it'll just send 500s back to you. So that throttling works very well, but that's a very good point.
I work in SEO, so I mean, between like, you know, trying to do ranking reports on Google, they're like all over that.
Yeah.
I mean, because like with trying to do ranking reports, you have a situation where it's swapped between proxy and content.
Yeah, can't
Which
solve
I
it.
guess, like, you know, basically how do you possibly detect that and try to stop it?
If we get that big, that'll become a problem, but again, still, we're a small firm. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
How is that tracker embedded in like a Google Earth? How do you track access from Google Earth?
Why? Because you want it. No. I'll answer that for you. So in Google Earth, when it loads the data, you can make a reference to an external resource somewhere on the web, and that resource refers to code on our server, and we can monitor when those hits happen, what IP address they're coming from, and which version of the file, of the KML file they have. Yeah. Any other questions before we go to pizza? I guess that's a wrap. Thank you very much.